Welcome to Ramadan Ready on Let the Quran Speak. Now, Dr. Shabir, a big question someone might have is, what if I can't fast? Is there anything in Ramadan that's there for me, right? And Muslims get really excited collectively about Ramadan, but this person might be feeling a little bit sad because they feel like they can't participate fully in the spirit of the month. So what advice, Dr. Shabir, do you have for that kind of person?
Yeah, there is something in Ramadan for everyone. And in fact, there is a lot in Ramadan that applies both to the fasting person and to the person who is not fasting. Of course, if one may not be fasting for a variety of reasons, some are delaying the fast for good reason, for later, after the month is over, and some will be paying a compensation, a fidya, instead of the fasting. So if somebody's not fasting, what else can they do to reap the benefits of the month? Well, it is mentioned in traditions that this month is great in and of itself, and the good deeds done during this month are rewarded much more than if the same deeds were done in another time. So we want to capitalize on that. It's a good season for doing good deeds. And so you might want to do a lot of good deeds, including reading the Quran, remembrance of God, helping your fellow human beings, and so on, doing something good for the environment, and all of that. And now, during the days of Ramadan and also the nights, we have to focus on the Quran because that's connected with the book. So it's not only reciting the Quran in the original Arabic, if we can, but also studying it in an English translation or another translation, reading commentaries, getting immersed in the book. And then there are the special night prayers. So one can attend the night prayers of Ramadan, either in the mosque, or one can do extra prayers at home at night. Because at night, when the world sleeps, and at least people in your vicinity sleep, and it's all quiet, and all you can hear are the crickets, perhaps. Then at that time, in that quiet of the night, you have a lot of good opportunity there to focus on your spirituality and to think about God and so on. So all of this is what is open to everyone, Safiyyah, whether fasting or not fasting.
And Dr. Shabir, also, I think about doing good deeds, because Ramadan is a time to really improve yourself spiritually, right? Be better to other people, give charity, cook a meal for somebody. There's a lot of things that people can do, even if they're fasting, to get closer to God.
Yes, and of course, those who are not fasting may have an advantage in this respect, because those who are fasting may be a little bit lacking in energy, especially towards the end of the day. But if you're not fasting, then you have your usual flow of energy. You can visit a hospital to visit sick people, if that's safe for you and safe for them. You can visit a prison and you talk to people there who may be waiting for somebody to come talk to them. And then if, depending on the circumstances and so on, you may be able to give them a good spiritual message that will be uplifting to them. And, a lot of people convert and change religion when they are in prisons. And a lot of people have actually become Muslims while they were in prisons. And then
yes, I understand many people actually watch our show in prison.
That too, yes. So
we've gotten messages from people. Yeah.
So a personal visit from a Muslim who happens not to be fasting during the month of Ramadan and has the energy to go out and do all of these good things, that could make a world of difference to a person's life. So there are a lot of things that people can do.
So they're not necessarily missing out then, Dr. Shabir?
Well, they are, but are not. I mean, there's
a way to compensate for it.
Yeah, so they're missing the fasting, but they can do so many other good things, and some good things which the fasting person may not be able to do. So it's balanced out in the end. So let me maybe offer a few more tips here.
Sure.
So there are voluntary prayers to be done during the day. One we know the 5 times daily prayers, and of course these should not be missed. This is a given that they must be done. So that's the Fajr prayer in the morning, the Dhuhr prayer in the afternoon, the Asr prayer late afternoon, and then at early night, that's the Maghrib prayer, and then late night, the Isha prayer. So these are the givens. And we mentioned the Tarawih prayer, which comes after the Isha prayer. That's the last prayer before you sleep. And in addition to all of these, Safiyyah, in a day you have many different opportunities to offer some special prayers. So one of them occurs right after sunrise. That's called the Ishraq Prayer. And then one occurs later on in the morning. That's called the Doha prayer. And the Doha just before the noon sets in. And then you have also the voluntary rakats, voluntary cycles of prayer that could be in addition to all of the fard prayers. So in the morning prayer, we only have 2 rakats or 2 cycles that are obligatory, but we can add another 2, which is sunnah, and this is an emphasized sunnah. So I should have said maybe we should add another 2 rather than saying we can. And then so too with other prayers, like for the afternoon prayer, there are cycles of prayer which are recommended before the actual fard or obligatory prayer, 2 afterwards, and so on. So if we keep doing all of these voluntary and additional prayers, this will be another way of capturing the blessings of Ramadan. Now, I spoke about reading the Quran, and if you're interested, Safiyyah, we can perhaps say a little bit more about that.
Sure.
So, one thing that people try to do is to read the entire Quran during the month of Ramadan, and this is easy peasy because it would mean reading 1/30th part, and that would entail 20 pages in many bindings of the Quran. So if you think of 20 pages, it might take you about a half an hour to 40 minutes, depending on how you're reading. Are you reading slow and steady, or you're reading with eyes only, which could be quicker even? If you say, all right, I divide them up, I'm going to stop for 5 prayers in a day anyway. And if you read 4 pages after each one of these 5 prayers, that's your 20 pages done in a day. It will only take you a few minutes each time, in addition to your usual prayers. So in this way, you can complete reading the Quran in the month of Ramadan. And a lot of Muslims have actually gone through life and they have never read the whole Quran. And this is, a travesty. Like, how do we go through life and not read the Book of God in its entirety?
But of course, it's very important to know what you're reading, right? If you're just reading it, like you get blessings, but you're not really, inculcating the message of the Quran.
Yeah, so the same thing can go for reading in an English translation. You just read several pages each time, so that by the end of the day, you've read one portion, 1/30th of the whole, and by the end of the month, you've read the entire Quran in the English translation, so you get an understanding of what you're reading. And yeah, Safiyyah, you are correct, and we should emphasize that. More than the emphasis on reading the actual Arabic, if you don't understand that, should be the emphasis on reading with understanding. Because the Book of God came to us to be understood and implemented. And if we don't understand it, we're just reading the Arabic words, thinking we've done a great job and we sound great, but we don't know what it says, then this is a travesty.
And many Muslims are in that situation.
Unfortunately, yes.
All right, thank you for that, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.
Let's leave on a positive note and say that there are opportunities for everybody, whether you're fasting or not.
On behalf of Let the Quran Speak, I want to say thank you for supporting us. Please continue to support us this Ramadan. May God bless you and your loved ones with the very best always, and may you draw ever closer to God this Ramadan.